question, especially for like maybe some of my older ladies or gentlemen who may be watching. So here's the thing, like, you know, I know a lot of us, we go to our elders, whether it's our parents, grandparents, auntie, them, whoever. We go to them for advice a lot of times, right? So tell me this. And a lot of times, you know, just based on what it is, a parent may expect that, you know, a child, an adult child, runs certain things by them. Like, say for instance, if you get ready to get married, you know, some fathers feel that, hey, you have to come talk to me before you marry my daughter, or you have to come get a blessing from me, or you have to come get permission, or something, right? So, you know, I guess that's like tradition, and, you know, they did some stuff like that. Biblically, you had to give like a dowry for the girl, you know, in order to be able to marry her. You had to bring a gift to the family, etc., so forth. So there is historically an expectation that the guy has to run his move by the family, in particular her dad, right? So maybe if it's not dad, there's no dad in the picture, then, you know, maybe he has to come and talk to mom, you know, and just let mom know, hey, this is what I plan to do. If there's no mom, maybe there's kids, grown kids, younger kids, or something. You say, hey, you know, I'm planning on marrying your mom, etc., so forth, right? So, and then, you know, a lot of times it's just nothing. People just pop up and pop out, and hey, they married. Ain't nobody ran none by nobody. So what y'all think about that? You know, like, is there a level of respect that's due, that person should go through, you know, your elders, or go through, you know, your closest family members to, you know, get an approval, or, you know, or just to let them know that, hey, this is what we're about to do, you know. But what if you have a messy family? What if your family the type that they don't co-sign nothing that you do? They don't like any of the people that you date, you know, whether it's male, female. You know, with some men, they sisters so messy, or their moms them so messy, that no girl is ever going to be good enough. It's always going to be something about that girl that they don't like, you know. And in essence, all it is that they don't want to lose you, because they don't really want to use the monetary attachment that comes with you. And they know that in the event that you get married, that they don't have access to you or your coins like that anymore, right? And that's just, like I say, one case. That's just one scenario. What about situations where, you know, you understand, you know what, I don't know what's going on this highway, but I know who ain't finna get on it. Yeah, I'm gonna take another alternate way. Anyway, excuse me. But yeah, so what about the situations where, well, it must have was a bad accident or something, because it's biked up. Yeah, so what about the situations and circumstances when, you know, maybe your parents or grandparents or auntie, uncle, them, maybe they ain't had the best situation or circumstance in their marriage, right? But they the person who's supposed to give you the cosign, the yes or no, the go ahead, the don't, you know? Like, what are the rules on that? How much advice can you really take, or should you really take, from people who their relationships have not stood the test of time, right? You may have a mom in a relationship, you know, maybe she's with your dad all her life, but your mama have never really been happy, right? Is she the right person to tell you who to pick and who not to pick? Because though you could argue either way. You could argue either way that because she's unhappy, she's the perfect person to tell you who not to pick, what not to do. And then you could argue and say, well, she ain't even happy in hers. How she gonna give me the right advice for mine, right? So I just wonder about that, because, you know, it's so many situations and circumstances where you don't have anyone to look at to say, you know what, I want that type of marriage, or I want that type of relationship. You know, I ran across a lady when I was doing Lyft. I ran across a lady, and God bless her. She was doing I picked her up from a cancer place, right? And you know, the first thing she said when I was picking her up was that, you know, I got some bad news today, you know. And my heart went out to her because I just already know, you know, what she's probably talking about. So I could not gauge her age, right? I couldn't gauge her age because of how, you know, her situation was with the cancer. But her voice was so strong, and her life experiences that we were talking about, I'm like, I don't think she's that old, you know. But I couldn't gauge that just by looking at her because, of course, you know, the cancer, chemo, all that, the ate her hair out, all that type of stuff, right? So, I had when I say I had a wonderful conversation with this lady, white lady, and we just started just chopping it up, you know, and she was telling me how her husband, she said they were making when she had got diagnosed with her cancer, they were making all kind of plans, you know, making sure they had, you know, their insurance was intact, the wills, everything. She said because they had planned that she would go first. She said that out of nowhere, she ended up having, her husband had an aneurysm in his stomach, and that ended up taking him out. So that left her, right? And that lady said, she said it's been 4 years. She said she mourn him still. She said because he was her best friend. Excuse me. Yeah. That lady said he was her best friend, and she still missed him. And she said I think she said they was married for like 30, 35 years. And she was like, that was the best thing ever happened to her. And I was like, man, I'm like, you know, I hardly hear those type of stories, you know. And so, you know, I'm intrigued by her, and I had to ask her, I said, well, what do you think was like the secret to y'all success? And she said, we were best friends. She said, I believe that is why things were. She said, because both of us were on our, you know, it wasn't our first marriage for either one of us. She said after her first marriage was so terrible, after her first marriage, she definitely had no plans on doing it again. And she said for her husband, it was his third marriage. She said, and what happened was they ended up buying homes right next to each other. So they were neighbors. That's how they met. And just being, you know, friendly, cordial, eventually it led to them dating. You know, it led to them spending more time together, eventually dating, and getting married. She moved into his house. They rented out her house. And she was like, they had a wonderful life. And I was like, man, like, goodness. And then I found out that, yeah, she really was not that much older. She had a son that was like the same age as me. And like I said, we had a wonderful talk. And it just really just made me think about everything, you know, and think about how important relationships are. And the thing was, she was saying how that she now lives in a retirement community where I was taking her home. I took her home, and she said like their little tribe, the people that they, you know, be with, hang with, talk with, whatever, you know. Her neighbor, she said they're married too. She said almost all of them are married, and you know, have you know, relationships that have lasted forever. She said one of the couples are like celebrating their 50 years. And I was like, wow. You know, and it's not, of course it happens in the black community, but it definitely don't happen that much. And how many times do it happen without, you know, finding out later that he had 2-3 more kids way over yonder, right up the street. You know, it seemed like when it do happen, it have to come with something else. You know, and even if you don't find out that it was a whole other family, it do be a whole nother family that, you know, he just never acknowledged. So then now another family has suffered. And we think this man is a great man. Oh, he's been married 50, 60 years, boom, boom, boom. Not knowing he had to deny a whole other family just so he could stay with this family. So now is he really all that great? You know, like it just always seems like it's a twist or a turn, you know, in our situation sometimes, you know. And of course, you know, that's not every situation, but a lot of times it is. You know, so that's not to say they ain't had no twists or turns, but I'm just saying, like, it just seemed like, you know, they had a wonderful situation, and I'm like, yes, that's it right there. You know, so I just shared that situation because I'm like, you know, every now and then you will hear a situation that it really gives you hope. And I know, like, everybody knows after people die, it seems like, oh, they were the greatest person. Oh, I love them so much. And y'all could have been arguing every day, you know, but when they gone, you start to not look so much at the simple trivial things. You know, you don't look that much at those things. You start to pay more attention to the other things, the happy times, the good times, you know. But, you know, with her, she said he was always her best friend, and they, you know, and they always had a great situation, and, you know, so hey. But yeah, back to the question, you know, how much weight do we put on, you know, getting that approval from our elders for a person, you know, for a person that we want to bring into our life, you know. And I could see the big picture of, hey, you about to bring this person into your life. It's only right that you let, you know, somebody know, hey, I'm bringing this man into our life. This is who he is. They need to know something about him. He's going to be at the family dinners. He's going to be on the vacations. He's going to be, you know, in the midst of your nieces, your nephews. You need to know if he have a track record of messing with kids. You need to know if he done been to prison for stealing. Can you lay your pocketbook down, you know, close by him and not have to worry about him going in and getting no money or getting credit cards because he's a scammer. You know what I'm saying? So I totally understand the importance of, you need to know who you bring around your tribe. You know, so I understand that part, you know. But in the event that, you know, what do you do when it's a guy that you want to be with and hey, they like, nah, don't do it, you know. But then you look at their relationship and you like, hey, you ain't picked a good person yet, but you telling me don't do it. Why you keep doing it? You know what I'm saying? Like, I listen to you when you pick the right person. Then I'll be able to listen at what you tell me. Because a lot of people feel like that. Like, they can't tell me nothing. They can't even keep a man. Or they can't tell me nothing. They keep picking the wrong wife or whatever. So what y'all think about that? You know, because I done seen some things in this life. And I have seen people stop people from dealing with good people out of jealousy. Out of jealousy. You will say something wrong with this man. Man, this man is an average man, and this man is good to you. But somebody who don't have a good man have so much to say about him. And this man runs circles around the person who they with, but they keep finding fault in this person. See, that be jealousy. So it's like, it's so many factors you have to be able to pay attention to and then not pay attention to at the same time whenever you know, trying to get people's opinion of your situation, and whenever you respect what it is that they're saying, you know. Because a lot, you know, you have a lot of women that may tell you, hey, don't even bother, don't get married, this, that, or the third, you know. But guess what? You might not want to be single all your life. But because they have found a peace in being single, then they feel like, hey, I'm good, you could be good too. So when you introduce somebody to them, they ain't never impressed. They ain't never impressed. Because in their mind, it don't matter how good he look. It don't matter how good he look on paper. They know that he has potential to do some things that could hurt her. So in their mind, she better off without him, no matter how good he may be presenting, you know. And then you have the other situations where, you know, the person may not be, you know, you may have a dad or uncle or whatever. They ain't perfect, but then every dude you bring in front of them, they want them to be perfect. But you ain't living no perfect life, you know. So it's all kind of scenarios I could give y'all, but just, you know, hit the comments and let me know where y'all weigh in on that. Do y'all present y'all, you know, y'all relationships to your elders? You know, how much weight does that hold what your elders think and how they feel about y'all relationships, you know? Hit me in the comments, let me know.